Hello, Guardians, and welcome to the Destiny IT Pros Podcast, brought to you by FrontPoint IT, Utah's premier managed services provider. Find us online at frontpoint-it.com. Hello, Guardians. It is Tuesday, August 11th, 2015, which means it's time for the weekly reset in the tower. My name is Jeremy Wright.
And I'm Dan Stanford.
You can find me on Xbox at IT Outlaws, my gamer tag.
And I am Mutant Entree.
So we had quite the bomb dropped this last week. It looks like Game Informer got an exclusive, some exclusive information on the Taken King and what's going on with the Taken King. So we're going to dig into that. Let's run through the weekly reset really fast. We have the Nightfall Strike is Winter's Run, so the Archon Priest, with Arc and Solar Burn, which are the two worst burns to have on that one. And then Small Arms is also active. So Fatebringer is pretty much good to go in that case.
So that means we got to watch out. So your special weapon and your heavy weapon are nerfed.
Right.
So any primaries that have got solar damage or arc damage, right, are going to just rule.
With that, though, even though Small Arms is active, there's a burn, so the heavy stuff should still do pretty good damage. I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Yeah, that actually would be interesting.
That one sucks, though, because at the end, when you're fighting the Archon Priest,
it takes forever.
That's all you have is solar and arc damage coming at you. Anyways, the next one, the heroic for this week is the Will of Crota, so Omnigul. No burn, just a brawler modifier, which greatly increases your melee damage. Doesn't really help a whole lot on that one. You're not really meleeing anything on that one, in my opinion.
Oh, come on. Jump up there and smack her around, you know. I'm sure it'll go well.
Fair enough. I usually shotgun her in the face. Prison of Elders this week, level 32 is the Forever Eater. Level 34 is the Machine Wrath. Level 35 is Skolas, as always. And now let's get into the important things. So, the bomb that they dropped is the changes coming with Destiny 2.0, the Taken King, which is coming out in a month and 4 days. I don't even know where to start with this.
It's huge.
Yeah.
This is massive.
They're changing the game entirely from the beginning to the end. So they got rid of the Dinklebot.
Yep.
They Nolan North, who is recast and then redone all of the voiceover work from the beginning back. And so everything that your Ghost has said previously will now be Nolan North, which I think we briefly talked about last week.
We did. Yeah. Okay. But still, I mean, the fact that, you know, the Ghost is coming back. He's going to play a big role in the Taken King. To me, that's a huge thing. I've missed the Ghost and that progression of the storyline. You know, the two DLCs. I don't think that was there, so that's definitely cool.
The most important thing that we're seeing really is a new leveling system.
Yeah,
traditional leveling system, I guess you could say. As in, there's no longer going to be light. Well, there is going to be light levels, I believe, but it's.
I even got the impression that was flat out gone.
It said that there's still going to be light. From what I got from it, light levels were still going to be there, but they don't mean anything. Or perhaps they have some weird buff that they do. Instead, it's just straight experience, which is how every other game has done it.
Correct. So 1 through 40, and it is now confirmed the new. Level cap is 40, is straight up experience. So that to me just screams the question, what is going to happen on September 15th to my character? What in the world level am I going to be at?
I think you're still going to be level 34. That's the impression I was getting. After reading through the Game Informer article and looking through it, you're still going to be level 40. Which leads me to the conclusion that I came to, which I guess we'll have to get to that in a second. Well, I'll just jump into it right now. This is the game that they wanted to make.
Yes.
From the beginning.
I strongly got that impression too.
This was...
The Taken King. You're talking specifically about Taken King.
Well, Destiny 2.0
yes.
is the game that should have been made
yes.
a year ago.
Yes.
That's what's happened.
It reminds me of being IT guys. It reminds me of like Vista and Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10. It's like, okay, it was a good try, good job, guys. Now we're going to get it right.
Right.
Now that's assuming that I agree with everything that's happened in the Taken King, which we'll continue to talk about that. But go ahead.
So it seems like this is the game that they wanted to make, and they've made some vast, sweeping changes across everything.
Huge. Yeah.
So the leveling system is gone. We have an entirely new one, experience points only, which, side note, if you have Focus Light from Red Bulls, they give you 50% XP boost.
Stock up on them now.
So you could use those to, in theory, be able to level up 50% faster. Just saying.
Yep.
We're no longer able to ascend weapons. So the weapons that we have in year one, except for the exotics are safe, are going away.
Well, they'll just become pointless. Our characters, as they level up, will just outgrow our old legendary weapons, and they'll just be of no value anymore.
Pretty much.
So, with the House of Wolves, we were given, etheric light in order to pull up our legendary weapons to higher levels. That is not going to happen again. Legendary weapons are just simply the highest you could ever get them is 365. Our current batch, anyway, year one legendary weapons. And I guess we're going to get a new batch that can go much higher.
Well, I got the impression that it's not even a matter of that they can go higher. It's a matter of that there's going to be an ascension, progress map. You'll be able to take a common weapon and upgrade it all the way to a legendary weapon, is what I was seeing is like an evolutionary path. At least on some of the weapons, there's going to be for sure. There's a story to be told with each one. I noticed it's similar to the Husk of the Pit, where we're seeing that particular weapon where it starts out as a common and then you're able to upgrade it all the way to an exotic.
Yes.
I think we're going to see more of that going forward. What's bumming me out about all of this
interesting
is the ability that we cannot take our old weapons with us, because Fatebringer is by far one of the best weapons in the game, and I want to take that with me. But they promised us at the beginning that we could do that we'd be able to take our character, which we're using the same character, sure, but that's part of my character. I feel like that's part of what my character is the weapon and the build out.
I think where Destiny, and I absolutely agree with you, by the way, Jeremy, I think where Destiny is coming from is with the new subclasses, the new bad guys and that. They've talked about the new weapons will have new perks, new perks that we've never seen before. And there's no way to apply those perks to the old weapons. But the more that, as I'm even saying this, the more I'm thinking, so what? If you want to keep your Fatebringer, why not let us level it up higher and keep using it? And if we want to use the new perks, then we pick up one of the new weapons. I don't know.
Well, they've even said that in the Taken King, you'll be able to sacrifice weapons to change perks and to upgrade weapons that you have. So you'll be able to dismantle a weapon and say add some type of thing to the current weapon that you have. So you can add, increased magazine or the type of damage that it does, or a number of things. I don't know what they didn't say specifically what is going to be able to be changed, but you can upgrade it with another weapon.
Well, so that's cool.
We can also currently reforge weapons. So why can't we reforge an old weapon? Sure, it penalizes with it. Take Fatebringer and say you got to knock it down to 300, and you're gonna have to level it up somewhere crazy to get up there.
Here's my thought on that. The Taken King, with its new strikes, new bounties, new story missions, and apparently, again, a lot of this information is coming from the Game Informer article. I know GameStop carries that stuff, so you could easily pick it up there. There's digital editions if you want to read this article. It's quite long. It is very enlightening on what is going to be happening. So we're going to continue to go through that stuff. But as far as the weapons go, or as far as the game itself goes, is so radically different that I think they're basically just trying to shrug off the old. They're trying to shrug off all the old weapons, and I know your biggest problem is with the weapons. My biggest problem is with the characters and the leveling. So what I fear what's going to be happening there with the characters and the leveling with this new shot at it. Apparently, they're even redoing, and I say this in light terms because I sense that this article was heavily edited by Bungie, and they were only allowed, you know, a guy from Game Informer was allowed to play the game for, he states, anywhere from days to weeks.
It sounded like a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then he wrote about it, and I suspect, you know, Bungie really throttled him on what he could say and couldn't say, but I got the real sense that a lot of the earlier story missions have even been changed.
Oh yeah, they specifically said that they have gone through and they've added new enemies to the old story missions and strikes, so the taken enemies can just show up randomly. They've also added new narratives to those missions as well to help pad the storyline and give you more insight, which is great, but I don't want to go back and play all the story missions again, honestly.
Well, for example, the Sword of Crota mission, one of the early story missions where you get a sword and you take out all the thrall, and then you take out the three
the princes.
Princes, is that it? Yeah, the three princes that come at you. That now ties directly into the Dark Below when you take out the shard. So they're trying to, they've made a real big effort to streamline the story, actually start to put it together, add new content to the story and all that sort of stuff. This leads me to, again, the character leveling, my deep concern there of what's going to happen. You know, you take an extremely classic game, say Dungeons and Dragons. Chances are most people who are listening to this are familiar with that game. It's just straight up experience, and that determines your level. So if they are going to strip the light levels away, and you know, with the Taken King, and then your levels based on experience, well, for example, we're both level 34. I've played the game about 50% less than you have.
Okay.
Does it necessarily seem quote unquote fair or logical that when Taken King comes on, we both be level 34 when you must clearly have more experience in the game built up than I do?
Yes and no, because here's the other side of that coin, though, and I agree with you. I see what you're saying there, but the other side of that coin is how many before the experience leveling. So right now, the way that you level, actually before House of Wolves, even the way you leveled up was simply that you
get to level 20.
You get to level 20, then you have to get the gear.
Yep, and then it's all gear after.
But before House of Wolves, it was impossible sometimes to level up any further. You were waiting on a random drop.
Correct. Yeah, in the Dark Below,
right.
You had to do Crota, Crota's End, in order to get to level 32. Period. But we have another person in our fire team who has half of the playtime that, say, I do. Right. Yet he's level 34 also. So if Bungie's sitting back saying, okay, at level 20 you must have, and I'm making this number up, 20,000 experience. At level 21 it's 21,000 experience, etc. You know, you must have more experience than I do. So when it comes out, is all of a sudden level 34 for you 2 million experience, and level 34 for me 1.5 million? You know, or are they going to strip experience away from you?
I doubt it.
Or here's my concern, and this is me speculating. Are we all going to start level 20? Are we all just going to get bumped right back to 20, have that experience stripped off, if you will, and then we go from there? Or even better yet, because they have redone the story missions and everything else, even the original story missions, might we start at level 1?
Even if we did start at level 1, though, my part of my thing on that is, what difference would it make? Because they're going to retool everything.
Correct.
So we know this. So maybe
Correct.
The beginning of the Taken King is level 1. So who cares?
I'm actually with you to a point on that, because what is the purpose of playing a silly video game? And it is. If you think about it, we're sitting there with a little controller in our hands, pressing buttons and screaming at TVs, and that's what we consider enjoyable. You know, what would it necessarily matter? Even if they did reset us back to level 1, the story missions are going to be better. There's new things in them. You know, what would it really matter as far as gameplay and stuff like that? It actually sounds kind of fun. Mm-hmm. However, this now goes back to those weapons. You know, how much effort was put into getting Galahorn? How much effort was put into getting the Vex Mythoclast?
Well, we can keep
Fatebringer.
Fatebringer we can't keep.
Sure.
Well, we can keep it, but
for example, if you're level 1, can you even wield those weapons? Or you know, what kind of power levels? Anyway, all sorts of weird questions.
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see more of an incremental increase in your defense and the attack power of the weapons and all of those kind of things. We're not going to see where all of a sudden you can jump up to level 40. It'll be level 35 and 3/4, but now you have all of these defense stats. Like, I can see people being low levels but having really high defense stats or really high attack stats.
The equipment and armor and stuff.
Because it is basically like, think of Diablo 3, for instance, when you're leveling up that character. Sure, there's a level cap, but after that, it's your Paragon levels you're doing.
Yeah, there were, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, but what you're always trying to do is trying to get your gear and attack values to be higher. So that's what's going to happen.
Yes, but reading that article, I really got the sense that when you're doing the normal levels right now, 1 through 20, you know, you're always, okay, well, that weapon right there, I have to be level 16 to use. And that one I have to be level 18 to use. And then once you hit 20, then it was open. Everything was just level 20 and go from there. I suspect that's going to continue. Oh, now I have to be level 22 to use that weapon, and level 28 to use that weapon, level 36 to use that weapon. I really got that impression reading that article that that's going to keep happening.
I don't think so, because they said specifically that they're going to try to make sure that the drops that you get are going to be improved for what you don't have.
I got it that it would be relevant to your character.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to me means you would actually be able to wield it. You wouldn't get a drop of a level 38 weapon when you're still level 30.
I think we're saying the same thing, but I'm saying that it doesn't matter. That I hope that in their infinite wisdom, or lack thereof, that they have figured out, if they want to redo the leveling system, fine. That's all good and fine. They want to take away our weapons, fine. I think they understand that if they're going to take away some of our overpowered weapons, quote unquote, that they need to replace them with something that is equally as powerful. And that's fine. If they want to take away my Fatebringer, they want to take away Vision of Confluence. I think a little bit of that is forcing people's hand of, holy crap, everybody's using these guns. We made these super overpowered guns, and that's what everybody is using. Everybody's using these, and we're able to breathe through some of this content because we made them too powerful. We didn't realize that even though we gave it a 5% drop rate, we have how many million people playing the game, and so
people
tons
would
of people
grind
have
and grind until they found that weapon.
Yes, and so people have that weapon. I think they underestimated that, but I hopefully that they have made it so that if they have made these sweeping changes and everything gets weird and odd and sets us back a little bit, that maybe it doesn't make that much of a difference to us overall as we're playing the game. As we go through the Taken King, because we beat everything else, fine, we beat all the other stuff. Now as we're going through the Taken King, sure, we're level 1, but it doesn't matter in the Taken King. It doesn't matter anymore. And if they've redone the whole game, then they have to make sure that that applies going backwards as well. That I can still have, okay, so I have a level 34, I'm going into the first story mission again. I should be able to just mow through everything like I did before. That should still apply.
They also talked about a great deal of scaling. So apparently that's going to be ramped up in a big way, so that if you were at a high level and you were to go back and do some of the early story missions, you're going to see stuff like just a whole truckload of guys coming at you. and that would actually make it challenging once again. This is a big deal. A concern that I've always had is, with the leveling system, hitting 20 and then jumping in gear and then hitting the higher levels and stuff. For example, why do Vault of Glass other than to get a particular weapon or two? Why do Crota's End? Other than for a particular weapon, because if once you hit level 20, you just start playing Prison of Elders. Anyway, it seems like it gets very jumpy, if you will, after level 20. Where now, with it just being straight up experience, you just got to play. You've got to play to get those characters up to those levels. But I still have this nagging question about what is going to happen with the levels. What level is my character going to be?
Do the people who haven't purchased the DLC still get the retooling on these stuff?
Oh.
So if you buy Destiny base game September 16th, what do you get?
That's a great question. Yeah, and what about the story missions? What do you get?
Yeah.
Because
I know what they've done here. What they've done is they've made the game, like I said, that they wanted to make a year ago, which maybe they didn't want to make this game a year ago. They had a different vision, and they realized, okay, we screwed up. This is better.
It's like they didn't scale it well. They didn't realize really the consequences of these unusual leveling systems and the like.
And that's fine. Great. They figured it out. And so now the people who are coming in a year later have a little bit of an advantage of being able to understand things a little bit easier. And I think that's fine. I'm not really that upset about it. Like, I don't really care that much. Like, okay, great. So now you have XP levels, fantastic. And you can see how much XP you need to get to the next level. That's great. Fantastic. But they've kind of thrown us under the bus, as in we've been playing for a year. We have done everything you asked us to. We struggled through some parts because we were stuck at level 27 for a while. That was like our hang up was 27.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for quite a while.
Like a month almost or something. We were stuck there just waiting for gear and trying to get enough stuff to get the gear. And even with House of Wolves, you're able to get the gear easily. You just need 75 Vanguard marks for a helmet and 50 for anything else. So you need just to get to 32 and then armor cores to get to 34, which you can easily pass between characters. So you can level up all of your characters with one.
Oh yeah. You just play the story missions, if you will, get to level 20 and then boom, they're 34.
Well,
without much effort.
You have to get to 28 because you have to do Prison of Elders once.
Oh,
well, anyways,
this is from a person who still only has one character.
So it's still you have not. They've made a clearer path with House of Wolves to get to 34, but now they made a very clear path, which is fine. And I agree that they did it wrong before, but the weapons thing is like you said. I think they're just wiping clean the first year, and they have new music and everything as well. And I didn't say anything about Sir Paul McCartney in any of that?
Correct. I've caught that. Yes.
So I'm wondering if they kind of are just like, all right, year one's done. Let's just kind of scrub this clean and let's start over with our game.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's even like class specific quests now.
Yes. Yes. To get your subclass, you have to go on a special story mission for your
even
for your class,
on
for
the
your
older classes as well. So being whatever class you are, if you're Warlock and you're Sunsinger, you can go back and they have specific missions now that tell you what Sunsinger's purpose were, where they came from.
See, and this to me lends right back to: are we going to start at level 1? That's where I keep going mentally with this. We're level 20 or something. Anyway. Sorry.
They're not going to make us play the game over again, if that's your concern. I think that's what you're afraid of, but we're not going to play the game over again.
Well, I mean,
otherwise they're not our characters. And that goes against everything they've said. Otherwise, why even take the characters? Who cares?
Yeah, good point.
Because if they don't, then we're just being reset completely back to nothing.
We got our gear. We've got our weapons, and I guess the legendary is basically garbage now. But
for the first little while, it'll be useful, and then it'll disappear.
Then you'll just age out of it. And be fully prepared as a quote unquote higher level guardian using a common weapon once again, which just blows my mind. But that's what the article made very clear.
Yeah, we're going to be using the weapons that are going to be coming out will be common, and they'll have a higher attack value than whatever you have, and you'll just keep grinding to find those weapons. Although they've made it clear that they're making very specific ways to get the new weapons. It's not like completely random anymore. Like, oh, this legendary engram could either be 2 blue weapons or Galahorn. Like, it's not that anymore. I think the Cryptarch is going to change. I don't know that the engrams are going to be a whole lot of the same. I would be surprised if they keep the engram model.
They did make a comment to that fact that the Cryptarch would give you rewards that fit the engram better, essentially. Okay. So if you came to him with a blue engram, you would get a rare something. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't just get an uncommon or or a moto light.
Well, that only used to happen back in the beginning. After a few patches, they fixed the problems with like the getting the wrong color stuff.
Apparently, it's still some form of an issue because, that was mentioned that the Cryptarch was changing there. But even stuff in the tower, apparently you can go to some form of a kiosk in the tower, and there you'll have all of your emblems and shaders. Mm-hmm. They won't be in your inventory anymore. And you can, all of them that you own will be there, and you can pick them and use them. And then apparently you'll even be able to see, I don't know if you caught this, Jeremy, all the shaders and how to get them.
Yes, Super Black coming my way.
Yes, Jeremy has been on a religious quest here to get Super Black. What level are you in Dead Orbit now?
20 something.
Yeah. So the rumor was that you could get Super Black out of Dead Orbit. If any of you guys have ever seen that in the wild, drop a comment. But I sure have not, and question, whether or not it even exists.
Well, we know for sure that with the first year VIP pack, we're getting a blackish shader.
Yes, it looks very cool. Yeah, so, the pre-order bonus.
Yeah. So I don't care. I'm good with that. That's close enough.
No, it looks, and the new Sparrow, the Dark Sparrow, and then, oh crud, there was something else. There was a third thing. Is it a weapon?
The emblem, the little tiger thing.
Is it an emblem? Okay. Yeah. So, Jeremy.
Yes.
To me, after all this, it begs the question, why play Destiny right now?
I don't know, man. There's really no point. Like, there's no point for the next month to play Destiny, other than... Which is why they released that Moment of Triumph thing for the people who haven't.
Yes, which I'm tearing my eyeballs out trying to finish.
We'll get it done eventually. We just have to find out stupid chests.
Yeah.
But there's really no point to playing Destiny right now because what are you going to do?
Well, okay, so the emblem. Moments of Triumph emblem. Working on that. If you're not familiar with that, if you go to Bungie.net, pull open your account, you can see in there, it's under, I believe, achievements, and you can see how far you are in that particular emblem. And you have between now and the Taken King to finish it. You have to do all the raids on hard. You have to do Skull Loss. You have to... there's quite a few little items, and then you get that emblem. I just think it'd be cool to pull that off. But as far as reasons to play other than that, it would be to ascend your exotic gear.
Which, if you have it, whatever. And we don't know how we're going to ascend it going forward.
Agreed.
So maybe, again, that's pointless. Because I was surprised at how easy it was to ascend exotics and...
just with
House
shard
of Wolves with just a shard. They were all 365 in a matter of minutes done.
Well, but I mean, if you pick up, say, a new exotic, I still have not done much with my with Plan C and multi-tool. Mm-hmm. Those two I need to. I just need to straight up unlock the things on them, not only to ascend them, but just get all the perks opened up on it. Right. So that's one thing that I've really started to focus on is just. Using those exotics and cracking them open, and because your armor, your legendary armor, your legendary weapons, I don't see a reason anymore.
I know, and that's what bothers me too. Is I think they know that. That's why they're trying to push to get it out as soon as the 15th, obviously as soon as they can. But I think they're trying to release all this hype about it because they have no other choice. I just get the feeling that this is the game that they wanted to make a year ago, or the game they should have made a year ago, and they're kind of brushing us under the rug, and they're trying to bring back a bunch of people that bought it a year ago.
Correct.
Played it for 2 weeks.
Yep, and they got totally confused. Hit level 20 and they're like, what?
You don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, and just bailed.
They're trying to get those people back, and then they're trying to get the other people who don't understand how the game works to come back and play. Well, the new people, and they want them to play it, which is kind of why I think they're doing the whole like new game thing. It's like, oh, it's a whole new game. There's what I saw was 8 definitive story missions.
Yep.
And then there's going to be the class specific missions for Titans and Hunters and Warlocks and all that stuff, so that you can do those. There's going to be Gunsmith specific quests.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be Cryptarch specific quests.
Yep.
There's going to be all of these specific things that you're going to do to learn more about the Destiny universe, as well as make you play the game more. Because if you want to finish all the storylines, you're going to have to play as your Warlock. If you want to finish all the storylines, you're going to have to play as your Hunter. So you're going to have to go through and do each of those things, and so they want that to happen. And then they want people to go back and replay it because they want them to know all the additional details they're adding in.
And then in the Dreadnought, which is the new quote-unquote planet that we can run around on, apparently you have to do and find certain things in order to unlock battles with ultra bosses that are poking around in there, which then I assume would give you some particular reward, some particular weapon or something to that effect. So there'll be a whole lot of puzzles going forward. And then the new raid, and the name of it just shot right out of my head. It does have a name.
Fallen King.
Fallen King?
Or
there's something King.
Yeah.
It was anyway. Is supposedly they say without question is much larger than any other raid that has been in the game, which is good and bad because can we get this silly raid done in a week? That will be an interesting bit. I mean, if it's that much bigger.
Yeah, they're supposed to be big, but I think they're exaggerating how big it is. They have a lot of new quests that are available that I think will be fun to do.
Apparently you can hold a whole bunch of quests because I suspect a lot of these quests will take a long time to do. Not only multi-step, but just even trying to figure them out. So we have some new means to hold a lot of quests. Inventory is still garbage. Bungie keeps whining about some type of technical limitation that they're running into. And then there was some extremely vague comment in the article that said a solution is in progress that we're very excited about regarding inventory. So we'll see what that means.
Well, I think part of it is that they don't want the inventory to be huge, because what good does having a huge inventory do you, really?
Well, if you're collecting exotics, for example, apparently there's going to be a whole bunch of new exotics in this. Where are you going to put it all?
I think it said there was 12 exotics.
Oh, is there?
They said a dozen is what Game Informer was able to view was a dozen exotics.
Oh, okay.
But the other part of them was not. Like, then there's 6 pieces of gear per class.
So speaking of exotics, they have released, I don't know if it's Game Informer or not. Yeah. I think it was the new fusion rifle. Do you remember the name of it?
It's called the Simulant Sleeper.
Simulant Sleeper, and it is in your heavy weapon slot. And the thing, you can only hold around 3 rounds, 4 rounds. It's like take a rocket launcher and a fusion rifle and mix them together.
It's a railgun, basically.
So the thing just, there was a brief video, and the Guardian was fighting a yellow bar ogre, if I recall.
Yeah.
And it took him about 5 shots with the fusion rifle to drop him. It's quite a powerful weapon. It still has its charge time and all that sort of stuff, but that sounds kind of fun. Sounds interesting to see what that might do.
So there's one auto rifle that shoots chains of lightning. That's one of the exotic auto rifles. A sniper rifle that blinds nearby enemies on a precision hit. An intriguing new pulse rifle called No Time to Explain that answers the desire for a high-level version of the Stranger's rifle. Nailing precision hits with the arc weapon refuels bullets directly to the magazine. So exotics now come with an intrinsic perk upon acquisition. The defining perk that sets it apart, like the Helmless 814's blinding ability, the readjustment even applies to older exotics that you acquire. So I guess whatever the namesake is the one that you get it immediately when you pick up the exotic.
So if you were to pick up Red Death, you'd immediately have the Red Death perk, which is the health regen.
Right.
You know, with that pulse rifle.
So they're now tied to involved quests that echo and enhance the established idea of exotic bounties. For instance, I'm told this is verbatim from the article, by the way. I'm told one of the exotic weapons is gained in part through extensive exploration of Oryx's fortress like dreadnought. Hidden pieces are scattered across the ship with a piece of story like ghost fragments that help to flesh out the lore of the ultra powerful weapon.
Cool.
So there's that.
I'm totally game with that.
Yeah, I like the idea of not it being just entirely, because I just got my 3rd Gallahorn yesterday, and I know people that don't have any Gallahorns. And
if you didn't quite catch that, yes, he said 3rd.
I'm trying to find the name of the strike. Here it is right here. So there's 8 story missions, by the way. Lengthy story missions is the adjective used here to describe the missions. Lengthy, whatever that means. These stories sound really cool. Like the missions that you're going to do, they all sound like they're different, and they have different mechanics in them, by the way. Like some of them, they said, were like really like vertical. We have to do like weird jump puzzles and stuff. And
you have to bring out your ghost in order to see hidden platforms to jump onto.
Yeah, that stuff sounded really cool.
You know, the $40 with the Taken King and everything that we're talking about, I mean, to me, this is kind of sounding almost like Destiny 2. And it's the $40 is kind of a way of saying, you know, we're sorry, and please try our game again and get back into it, because we've completely redone the game. I don't know. There's a lot to be seen. I hope that the game will be a lot of fun. I hope that I'll feel that I haven't wasted my time playing it this previous year, and that year 2 will be great.
I certainly hope so as well. I'm trying to find the name of that strike, but I can't find it anywhere.
Or the raid?
Yeah, raid. Sorry, yeah.
It was near the end.
I found all the other ones. The 4 new strikes.
It was near the end of the article.
Whatever.
Like the last page there.
I'm on the last page.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying to just skim it really quick, and I can't find it. It's not jumping out of me. There's also new strikes, and of course there's a PlayStation exclusive strike, because we keep getting screwed on Xbox.
And I'm sure there's probably a few PlayStation exclusive weapons. Apparently, Xbox players will get some of the PlayStation exclusives now, even though I question if they'll be worth anything.
Yeah, so what? We can get the legendary stuff now?
Yeah. Yay.
I guess the exotics, I think they have an exotic that we can have.
Did they?
Hawkmoon.
Hawkmoon? Okay. I wasn't sure if that was an exotic or...
I'm not sure either, actually, because I don't care, because I can't have it.
Yeah.
So I don't want it.
Yeah. But we'll get those strikes. I think there's 2 strikes that we've never been able to access.
Yeah, the Dust Palace and something else. I don't know what it is. The Echo Chamber is the name of the PlayStation exclusive, which doesn't sound very cool. There's a Fallen Saber strike. You have to go back and help Rasputin again inside of his awesomeness to fight a super-powered variation on a shank. That sounds cool. Not so much.
I think he's got a shield too and stuff.
Yeah,
kind of sounds like a fast-moving Hydra.
Let's see, what else is here? Oh, I know that there's bounties that are different. The bounties now, they said that you're able to complete them in one day. If you get all 5 of them or 6 of them or whatever, you should be able to complete them in one day.
Oh, wow.
And then if you do all of them, you'll get an additional one that leads you to a legendary or exotic piece.
Very cool.
So they're retooling everything. The game is entirely different now. And I guess we'll see in a month. We'll keep you guys updated as we continue on and find more information. This is just the bomb that was dropped on us this last week, which completely changed our goals and what we're trying to do.
It awesomely came out hours after our last podcast last week.
It was like 15 minutes before, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
We started it and we were finishing our notes, and then we started it, and then we looked the next day and we're like, oh, we actually were playing with somebody that night, and they said, did you guys hear that like all the weapons are going to be like, what are you talking about?
No way, BS. Not true. And then, I found the article, and big deal.
Yep. Well, anyways, that's all we've got for this week. Tune in next week. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to hit us up in the comments below.
As always, our podcast today is brought to you by FrontPoint IT, your outsourced IT provider. We bill ourselves as your IT department. We're just there in a virtual manner, flat monthly rate. You can catch us at www.frontpoint-it.com.
And thanks for listening.
Have a good day.
I